Scrum activities take place at specific points throughout the sprint cycle, each serving a distinct purpose. These videos will walk you step by step through how to set up and run regular Scrum meetings for each activity. By understanding when these events happen and why they matter, your team can stay aligned, focused, and continuously improving throughout every sprint. Daily Scrum Meeting. The Daily Scrum Meeting is a short, focused meeting held every day during a sprint. It gives the team a chance to check progress, adjust plans if needed, and stay aligned on the sprint goal. A daily scrum is usually held at the same time and in the same place each working day. Many teams prefer mornings because it helps everyone start the day with clarity and direction. The meeting is strictly time-boxed to 15 minutes. This limit keeps discussions focused and prevents the meeting from turning into long conversations or problem-solving sessions. For remote teams, it may sometimes run slightly longer, but the goal is always to keep it short and effective. All core team members are expected to attend the Daily Scrum. This typically includes developers, the Scrum Master, and the product owner. These are the people fully committed to the sprint and responsible for delivering its outcomes. Others may observe the meeting, such as managers or stakeholders, but they do not actively participate. They are there to listen, not to direct or question the team. The purpose of the Daily Scrum is to inspect progress and adapt plans during the sprint. It is not a status report for management. It is a working session created for the team. During the Daily Scrum, team members share progress toward the sprint goal, identify blockers, and adjust their daily plan when necessary. Meeting every day helps teams stay synchronized and avoid surprises later in the sprint. Most teams use 3 simple questions to guide the discussion. What did I complete since the last meeting? What will I work on next? And is anything blocking my progress? Questions help the team quickly understand what work is done, what work remains, and where support may be needed. Some teams choose to discuss work by backlog item instead, rather than speaking one person at a time. Both approaches work, as long as the team stays aligned and focused. A Daily Scrum is a synchronization meeting. It helps team members coordinate their work and reinforce accountability to one another. It is not a performance review and not a problem-solving workshop. Any detailed discussions or technical problem-solving should happen after the meeting, with only the relevant people involved. This is often called the 16th minute. Daily Scrums work best when team members speak to each other, not to the Scrum Master. When the meeting belongs to the team, ownership and collaboration naturally improve. When a team member states what they plan to complete, they are making a commitment to the group. The next day, everyone will hear whether that commitment was met. This simple habit builds trust and shared responsibility. Chandimak, when blockers are raised, the Scrum Master takes responsibility for making sure they are addressed quickly. Common impediments may include missing tools, delayed access, technical challenges, or external requests disrupting the sprint. Even if the Scrum Master cannot solve the issue directly, they remain accountable for ensuring progress toward a solution. A well-run Daily Scrum should feel energizing, not draining. When done correctly, it keeps teams focused, connected, and confident about their progress. If daily scrums begin to feel frustrating or repetitive, it usually means the format needs adjustment, not that the meeting itself has lost its value. To conclude, the daily scrum helps the team stay aligned, focused, and moving toward the sprint goal. When done well, it encourages collaboration and surfaces issues early. Next presentation in this Agile series is Next Activity of Scrum, and that is Sprint Planning Meeting. In this activity, the product owner lays out the highest priorities of the product, enough for 2 sprints. And the team asks questions that will help break the big concepts into detailed tasks.
What is sprint planning? Sprint planning is a collaborative event where the Scrum team reviews high-priority items from the product backlog and decides which of them can realistically be completed during the sprint. During this session, the team explores the most important backlog items, discusses technical and delivery approaches, selects work they can confidently complete, and defines a clear sprint goal. The result is a focused plan that balances ambition with realism. Purpose of sprint planning. Sprint planning serves 2 core purposes. First, selecting the most valuable work to deliver in the sprint. Second, building confidence that the selected work can be completed. This meeting is not about predicting the future with perfect accuracy. Instead, it is about creating enough clarity for the team to start the sprint with confidence. Who participates? Sprint planning includes the full Scrum team. This means the product owner, the developers, and the Scrum Master. Other stakeholders may join if invited, but the responsibility for planning and commitment stays with the Scrum team. How long should sprint planning take? The length of sprint planning depends on the sprint duration. A practical guideline is about 45 minutes per sprint week. A 1-week sprint takes around 45 minutes. A 2-week sprint takes about 90 minutes. And a 4-week sprint takes roughly 3 hours. New teams may take longer at first, but planning becomes more efficient as experience grows. What happens during sprint planning? The product owner explains the highest priority backlog items. The team asks questions to understand requirements and constraints. Work is broken into manageable tasks when needed. The team evaluates how much work fits within their capacity. And the sprint goal is finalized. The developers decide how much work they can commit to, not the product owner. Capacity-based versus velocity-based planning. Capacity-based planning focuses on the team's available time and people. The team reviews high-priority items, breaks them into tasks, estimates work in hours, and compares total effort against team capacity. If capacity allows, more items are added. If not, items may be split, replaced, or deferred. Velocity-based planning relies on average past performance and can be useful for long-term forecasting, but it is less reliable for short-term commitments. Capacity-based planning is generally more accurate and flexible for sprint planning. Managing flow of work. Not all backlog items are equal in size. Strong Scrum teams balance their sprint backlog by mixing larger complex items with smaller, quick-to-complete items. This helps maintain a steady flow of work and avoids bottlenecks at the end of the sprint. Are detailed tasks and estimates required? The goal of sprint planning is commitment, not perfect task lists. Some teams need task breakdowns and rough estimates to feel confident. Others keep planning lightweight by using consistently sized tasks. Both approaches are valid, as long as the team understands the work well enough to commit, assigning tasks. Best practice is to avoid assigning every task during sprint planning. Instead, teams often leave tasks unassigned initially and allow developers to pull work during the sprint. This increases flexibility and encourages collaboration, especially as teams mature. Inputs to sprint planning. Key inputs in time, define prioritized product backlog. Estimates for high priority items, the team capacity or estimate data. Product owners should be prepared with at least 2 sprints worth of backlog items. Outputs of sprint planning. Sprint planning uses 2 planning items. A sprint goal is so sleek with the study what the sprint aims to achieve, and what it matters in a sprint backlog. A list of backlog items selected for the sprint and one with an evolving set of tasks required to complete them. Both made back as the sprint progresses, reflecting new insights into stabilities.
Key takeaway. Sprint planning is about shared understanding, realistic commitment, and alignment. When done well, it sets the tone for a focused, productive sprint and enables the team to deliver value with confidence.
To conclude, the sprint planning meeting helps the team, not the product owner, to determine how much work they can do in the coming when done well. It encourages collaboration and surfaces issues early. Next presentation in this Agile series is next activity of Scrum, and that is Sprint Retrospective. In this activity, the Scrum team looks for ways to improve in the wake of a sprint. Sprint Retrospective. No matter how experienced a Scrum team becomes, there is always room to improve. The Sprint Retrospective exists because Agile values learning, reflection, and continuous improvement. Why sprint retrospectives matter. Even high-performing teams encounter friction, inefficiencies, and blind spots. The sprint retrospective gives the team a structured opportunity to pause, reflect, and improve how they work together. Small improvements made consistently can have a powerful impact on quality, morale, and delivery. What is a sprint retrospective? A sprint retrospective is a dedicated event held at the end of a sprint where the Scrum team reflects on how the sprint went. The goal is to inspect team processes, collaboration, tools, and communication, and then identify practical ways to improve in the next sprint. Reflection, not reporting. The sprint retrospective is not a status meeting. It is not a performance review, and it is not a forum for management updates. Instead, it is a working session where the team openly discusses what helped them succeed and what slowed them down. Honest conversation and psychological safety are essential for this meeting to work. When is the sprint retrospective held? The sprint retrospective is usually the final Scrum event of the sprint. Many teams hold it immediately after the sprint review, while the experience is still fresh. Holding retrospectives consistently helps teams build a rhythm of reflection and improvement. Who attends the sprint retrospective? The entire Scrum team participates in the sprint retrospective. This includes developers, the Scrum Master, and the product owner. External stakeholders typically do not attend, allowing the team to speak openly and honestly. Time-boxing the retrospective. Sprint retrospectives are time-boxed events. For most teams, 1 hour or less is sufficient. This encourages focus and meaningful discussion. Occasionally, Deeper issues may require more time, but extending the meeting should be intentional, not routine. Common retrospective challenges. Many teams struggle to get full value from retrospectives. Here, common challenges include repeating the same issues, low participation, and action items that are never followed up. Recognizing these challenges is the first step toward improvement. The role of the Scrum Master. The Scrum Master typically facilitates the Sprint Retrospective. Their role is to create a safe environment, encourage participation, and guide the discussion toward action. They do not control the conversation. They enable. A simple retrospective format. There are many retrospective formats, but one of the simplest and most effective is start, stop, continue. It is easy to understand, easy to facilitate, and works for teams at any maturity level. Start, stop, continue. Explained in this format, the team identifies things to start doing, stop doing, and continue doing. Here, this balances improvement with reinforcing what already works well. Facilitating the discussion. The Scrum Master may ask team members to call out ideas or go around the room one by one. Sometimes, the team may focus on just one category, such as stop, if it has been overlooked in the past. Encouraging honest participation. Not all team members feel comfortable speaking up right away. Facilitators can allow silent brainstorming, written notes, or digital boards to help everyone contribute. The goal is to hear from the whole team, not just the loudest voices. From ideas to action. After ideas are gathered, the team reviews them together. Many teams vote to decide which improvements matter most. Focusing on a small number of actions increases the chance of real change. Choosing improvement actions. Improvement actions should be clear, specific, and achievable within one sprint. They are commitments, not suggestions. These actions represent the team's intent to work differently next sprint. Closing the retrospective. Before ending the retrospective, the team confirms what actions were selected, who owns them, and how success will be measured. This clarity turns insight into action. Reviewing progress. Next sprint. Many teams begin the next retrospective by reviewing the previous improvement actions. This creates accountability and reinforces continuous improvement. Even small progress is worth recognizing. Continuous improvement in action. The Sprint Retrospective is the engine of continuous improvement in Scrum. Without it, teams risk repeating the same problems, sprint after sprint. Key takeaway. The Sprint Retrospective is a powerful opportunity for reflection, learning, and improvement. When taken seriously, it leads to better collaboration, higher quality, and a stronger Scrum team. The Sprint Retrospective helps the team reflect, learn, and identify meaningful improvements. When teams act on these insights, they continuously improve collaboration, quality, and outcomes. This concludes our overview of the Sprint Retrospective meeting, where teams reflect, learn, and identify opportunities for continuous improvement. Next, we will explore the Sprint Review meeting and how it helps teams inspect results and gather feedback from stakeholders.
Sprint Review Meeting. The Sprint Review is a collaborative event held at the end of each sprint. It provides an opportunity for the Scrum team and stakeholders to inspect what was built and discuss what should happen next. Unlike status meetings, the sprint review focuses on learning, feedback, and adaptation. Purpose of the sprint review. The primary purpose of the sprint review is to gather feedback on the work completed during the sprint. The team presents usable increments of the product, and participants discuss how those changes affect the product's direction, priorities, and future plans. This inspection and adaptation help ensure the product continues to move in the right direction. Inspect and adapt sprint reviews support two key Scrum principles: inspection and adaptation. Inspection happens when stakeholders review the newly completed work. Adaptation happens when the product owner and team adjust the product backlog based on what they learn. These adjustments influence what will be built in upcoming sprints. How feedback shapes decisions. Feedback gathered during the sprint review can lead to important product decisions. For example, the product owner may decide to release the product earlier than planned, delay a release to improve specific features, expand or refine features that stakeholders find valuable. Sprint reviews help reduce assumptions and replace them with real user input. What happens in a sprint review? The sprint review is held at the end of each sprint. During the meeting, the Scrum team demonstrates the work they completed and discusses outcomes with stakeholders. It is more than a demo. It is a conversation about value, direction, and next steps. Not just a demo. Although demonstrations are part of the sprint review, the meeting should not turn into a scripted presentation. The goal is interaction, not performance. Questions, feedback, and discussion are encouraged throughout the session. This keeps the review meaningful and collaborative. Sprint reviews are time-boxed events. For a 1-month sprint, the maximum duration is 4 hours. For shorter sprints, reviews typically last 1 to 2 hours. Keeping the meeting focused helps maintain energy and engagement. Informal by design. Sprint reviews are intentionally informal. They usually require minimal preparation and often do not involve slides. The work itself is the centerpiece of the conversation. This approach helps keep the sprint review a natural extension of the sprint rather than an extra burden. Who attends the sprint review? Sprint review participants typically include the product owner developers, the Scrum Master, stakeholders such as customers, managers, or other teams. Anyone with an interest in the product may be invited to provide feedback. What should be shown? During the sprint review, the team should show work that supports meaningful feedback. This includes items that are complete or nearly complete, influence future product decisions, help stakeholders understand progress. The goal is not to show everything, only what matters. What not to show. Not all work needs to be demonstrated in detail. Minor fixes or internal changes can be mentioned briefly without a full walkthrough. Showing unnecessary details can slow the meeting and reduce stakeholder engagement. Using a simple agenda. Many teams start the sprint review with a simple agenda. This agenda may list items that will be demonstrated, items that will not be demonstrated. This sets expectations and keeps the meeting focused and efficient. Transparency builds trust. Choosing not to show certain items is not about hiding work. If a stakeholder asks to see something, the team should be ready to show it. Transparency and openness build trust and encourage honest feedback. Guidelines for what to show. A good rule of thumb is to show anything that you want feedback on stakeholders should be aware of, could influence product decisions participants specifically ask to see. This keeps the discussion relevant and productive. Stakeholders engaged. Focused sprint reviews respect participants' time. When meetings stay relevant and interactive, stakeholders are more likely to attend future reviews and provide valuable input. This strengthens collaboration and improves product outcomes over time. Sprint review outcomes. The sprint review often results in updated product backlog items, new ideas or refinements, better alignment between the team and stakeholders. These outcomes help guide planning for the next sprint. Key takeaway. The sprint review is a collaborative opportunity to inspect completed work and adapt future plans. When run effectively, it strengthens feedback loops, improves decision-making, and keeps the product aligned with real user needs. The sprint review is a collaborative opportunity to inspect completed work, gather real feedback, and align on next steps. When teams focus on value and open discussion, the sprint review becomes a powerful driver of better decisions and stronger product outcomes. Thank you for watching this Scrum Activities and Overview series. If you found it helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to Lean Learning Lane to support the channel and help others learn Agile the right way. In the next episode, we'll begin with an introduction to Agile and Scrum methodology, where we break down the foundations that make Scrum work. We look forward to learning with you, one clear lesson at a time.